Your GIS assignment is located on Canvas. This is the first thing that I would like you to do because it is designed to hopefully just give you a quick experience using ArcGIS to find information. The information that you're going to find is outdated, and that's fine because, again, I'm just trying to help you to become experienced with it, to learn what ArcGIS is and how we can use it for your next assignment. So ArcGIS is a technology that was created many years ago by the U.S. military. The public didn't know about it until Desert Storm, the war in Iraq, and we learned about it because we saw the war happening live, and we realized quickly that our military that was stationed on ships out in the ocean were launching missiles from these ships, and these missiles were traveling hundreds of miles and dropping perfectly on buildings. So much so that they were not just hitting the building, they were going inside of the largest opening, the largest pipes, air conditioning vents, so that this missile could get inside of the building before it was detonated. And so we were able to figure out that we used GPS to identify the largest openings on our target buildings, but then we also used GIS to find the buildings in the first place and to access or to gain the knowledge as to the latitude and longitude for where these pipes existed. And so we saw firsthand how this system can be utilized. After Desert Storm started, Google started to create their own GIS system. They call it Google Earth. So if you're familiar with Google Earth, then this should be fairly easy for you. Google Earth is where we have taken the pictures of the Earth, cities, counties, states, and we have created this visualization of what the Earth actually looks like. So you can type in an address, you can type in the name of a landmark, and Google Earth will zoom into it so you can see it. They've also added the ability to add layers. If you watch the previous tutorial, I talked about layers and how we're going to be accessing layers. And I likened it to a wedding cake and how each layer of a wedding cake and each layer of frosting is a different layer of data. Google Earth is the same way. You can click on the streets tab on Google Earth and it will pop up lines showing you the different streets in a city. You can click on 3D buildings and the buildings on the screen will populate into three-dimensional images. So you're used to working with layers. The only difference between layers on Google Earth and layers on ArcGIS is the ArcGIS layers are data-driven. So we can gain access to this data. For example, question number 1 on your assignment asks, what is the population density for the area in which you live? Population density means how close or how many people are living in your neighborhood. Okay, so typically we measure this by square footage. Sometimes we measure this by square miles. Either way, we're looking for the population density in which you live. So I'm going to go back to ArcGIS and I'm going to search for layers. Remember, I told you that we want to search online. If you do a search here and nothing shows up down here, chances are you're not searching online. So I'm going to do a search for population density. I'm going to add USA in there. But the layer I want to use is the 2012 layer. All of the layers that I am asking you to access should be written by ArcGIS, and it would say it down here at the bottom. You also want the ones that say mature support. That just means that you are accessing data that is or has more information than other layers. So we're going to scroll down here until we can find this layer. The last time I looked at it, it was in orange colors. And I believe it is right here. So, USA Population Density Mature Support by Esri. Now notice you've got this plus sign. I'm just going to click on it. Now my map has changed. I'm going to zoom in so that you can kind of get a better idea of what I'm doing. I'm going to put my cursor over Utah and I'm going to zoom in to where Spanish Fork is. Notice Spanish Fork is showing up. Okay, you've got all these different neighborhoods in Spanish Fork. Each neighborhood is just that, a neighborhood. There's no real reason why they cut it off, why they didn't cut this neighborhood off here. It's just, since it's just data driven, I wouldn't worry about the size of your neighborhood. Notice this one is much larger. What I would do, or the easiest thing to do, is to zoom in until this picture pops up. And notice our school is located right here, Spanish Fork or Diamond Fork Junior High. And you can zoom in into your house. So let's just say, hypothetically, this is your home. Okay? I would keep your cursor on your home, if you can see where my cursor is. And I would just zoom out. I use my wheel on my scroll mouse. And then once this pops up, all you have to do is click and it'll pop up your information box. So when we read it, it says, with a population of 1,470 in 2012, the population density here is 7,435.5 people per square mile. So what this means is that on average, in 1 square mile, you will have 7,435 people. Question number 2 asks, if the people in your neighborhood were spread out evenly, how close would each other be, or how far away would they be from each other? That is the last sentence in here. It says if they spread out evenly, there would be 61 feet between each person. So that is, if everybody in this neighborhood were to get outside in an open field and stand equidistant from each other, there would be 61 feet between each person. Now that's not a lot of people, 7,435. If we went to New York City, which we can do, you'll see that in New York City, it's a lot more densely packed in there. I could pick this little square here, and there's 111,732 people in that little teeny block in a square mile. That means that they would be 16 feet apart. So a lot less space between each person. Let me zoom in here so you can see that data. Okay. Now that's a lot of people in that little teeny block. So if we go back to our assignment, question number 3 is that we want to access the population density for the neighborhood surrounding the Springville Walmart. So you're going to do the same thing. You're just going to find the Springville Walmart, click on that neighborhood. How many square feet per person is available surrounding University Mall? So now you can go to University Mall, and that one is in Orem. It's now called University Place, but on the map it is called University Mall. So if I zoom out and I go back to Utah, I can zoom in here and it should have for me University Mall. There it is. So when I click on it, it says so there's 2,232 people per square mile. It translates to approximately 12,489 square feet per person. That's the number we are looking for, okay? After you do University Mall, you're going to do the same for Provo Town Center. And then you're going to find the difference between those two numbers, okay? So that's going to get you to this question here. When we get to median household income, you're going to do the same thing we did for population density. We're going to find a layer for median household income. Again, that is going to be 22, done by Esri. And you're going to search through these layers until you find the one that you're looking for. This one is quite a ways down, so I may stop right here on the median household income. But you do it exactly the same way as the population density. I'm going to end this tutorial, and I will create a new tutorial on how to use your measuring tools.